Alright, Shalom. Giving all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yoshua, Ba'ashem, Barakah, double honors to all the elders and the apostles of Great Musa, sanitation to all the sincere Akim, and yes, the house of David is rising. Yeah, we're just going to roll in the spirit. Nice day, I said let me come out, do a little video over here, in the open, out in the open. Yes, man. So the prophets were always victorious, and they always had to wait for victory. Yeah, we're in that time now where our victory, getting our W's, is just around the corner. Yeah, the prophets were always victorious, and they waited for victory. And we've got an example. This is one of my favorite examples in Joshua, a well-known example. Joshua, we're going to read from chapter 6 and 2. Because when you hear about the walls of Jericho, things come to mind. I remember listening to, there's a lot of songs, reggae songs about the walls of Jericho, and Babylon is falling, and down came the walls of Jericho. There's a lot of nursery songs about it, or church songs. We used to sing them in the Sunday school. There's a lot of history. Esau knows a lot of history about the walls of Jericho. They've dug up a lot of the so-called historical ruins. So it's a big story, but really it's much more closer to home than when you get to understand the full picture. As now we know who we are, we're more related to the walls of Jericho than we thought. You know, Joshua was our forefather, our prophet, our exemplar, our ancestor. Yeah, and he wasn't a distant ancestor. He was a close relative. You could say a close family member. Joshua, our role model. And there's many examples of the prophets being victorious, but for this video I'm going to use this example. We're going to read some verses in Joshua chapter 6. Just wait for that motorbike to pass. Chapter 2 says, And Yahweh said unto Joshua, See, I have given unto thine hand Jericho, and the king thereof, and the mighty men of valor. Right, you see the first instruction there? It's yours, go and take it. You understand? Because why? Because I have no L's on my record. You understand? All you got to do is follow the instructions when it comes to the Most High, man. The kings, the mighty men, the walls of Jericho will all be given unto your hand, man. Go and take it. Let me savor that and read it again. And the Lord said unto Joshua, See, I have given unto thine hand Jericho, the king thereof, and the mighty men of valor. Right, go and take it. 3. And ye shall compass the city, all ye men of war, go around about the city once. Thus shalt thou do 6 days. And the seven priests shall bear before the ark 7 trumpets of ram's horns. Right, you notice there's 7s there. 7 priests, because seven's the number of completion. Shall bear before the ark 7 trumpets, ram's horns, and the 7th day ye shall compass the city. The 7th day, 7 trumpets, 7 trumpets of ram's horns. Before the ark 7 trumpets of ram's horns, and the 7th day ye shall compass the city 7 times. Right, there's about 4 7s in that one precept. I'll read it again. And the 7th priest shall bear before the ark 7 trumpets, 2 rams horns, and the 7th day 3 shall compass the city 7 times. 4 times 7, right. And the priest shall blow with the trumpets, and it shall come to pass that when right shall come to pass, Satan just messing about with the tech there. And the 7th priest shall bear before the ark 7 trumpets of ram's horns, and the 7th day ye shall compass the city 7 times, and the priest shall blow with the trumpets. And it shall come to pass that when they make a long blast with the ram's horns, and when ye hear the sound of the trumpet, and all the people shall shout with a great shout, and the wall of the city shall fall down flat. Right. Like I say, there's a lot of history on the walls of Jericho come tumbling down. There's a lot of songs about it, you know, so-called reggae songs or rockers or conscious music, you know, and there's a lot of history on the walls of Jericho. And the people shall ascend up, every man straight before him. So that's all they had to do. Take heed and wait. The prophets were always victorious once they waited on Yahweh power. This is a beautiful example. And 6 says, and Joshua the son of Nun called the priests and said unto them, take up the ark of Yahweh of the covenant, and let 7 priests, again 7, bear 7 trumpets of ram's horns before the ark of the Lord. Right. There's a lot of talk about the ark of the covenant. Where is the ark today? Yeah. Some people say it's over there in Ethiopia. People have their own little their own thoughts about it. But according to the precepts, nobody knows where it is. But Yahweh thy power, Yahweh the Most High God knows where it is. Until further notice, you see. So that was another big thing, the Ark of the Covenant. And that was given to the children of Yasharallah. Yeah, our ancestors. 7 priests bore 7 trumpets of ram's horns before the ark of Yahweh thy power. And he said unto the people, pass on and compass the city, and let him that is armed pass on before the ark of the Lord. And it came to pass when Joshua had spoken unto the people, that the 7 priests bearing the 7 trumpets of the ram's horns passed on before the Lord, and blew with the trumpets, and the ark of the covenant of the Lord followed them. And the armed men went before the priests that blew with the trumpets, and the reward came after the ark, the priests going on and blowing with the trumpets. Right, you see, this would have had the enemy all shook, wondering what is going on here. Yeah, there's many examples of the enemies being thrown into confusion, or thrown into blindness, thrown into confusion, and turning on one another and starting to stab up and fight them one another. That's the power that we have. That's the power that is backing us. So wouldn't you want to wait for that? Because our power, the Most High, has no L's on his record. Pure W's. No losses on his record. Pure W's. So that's why you're going to listen. We're going to wait patiently. And we know it's around the corner. The people are shook. They see us rising up, talking and bringing out this truth. They know that we know about the MOB or MOTB. Yeah. They know we know about that. They know that we got them. And they're getting shook. And they're getting very, very sloppy. They're trying to find ways where they can introduce the MOTB, you know, without us spotting them. They think they can go underneath the Most High's radar, but the Most High gives us his spirit, and all the prophets are calling and exposing them, because this is the time of revelation, the time of everybody being revealed. No matter what kind of organization you're in, we know what's happening to the so-called conscious community. They're turning on each other, you know, offering out each other for fights. They want to get carnal because they're getting so frustrated. People exposing all their details, all their crime, the crime that they did, you know, all the things that they've done in the past, all the backbiting that goes on in that so-called conscious community. There's no unity, there's no order. That's why the Most High is throwing them into confusion. He's throwing a spanner in the works, and they're turning against each other, turning on each other, exposing all the dirty skeletons in the closet of each other. And that's all of the Most High. That's what he does to the enemy. He's done that before and he's doing it again. So that's why the enemy is shook and they're scared. They don't know, they can't pigeonhole the prophets. They can't predict. Just like in the walls of Jericho and the enemy, they couldn't predict what Joshua was going to do, because everything was given from on high. The spirit is like the wind. And it's the same thing today. And our victory is around the corner, and all we got to do is carry out the instructions, which it has a lot to do with waiting, and if necessary, being meticulous and carrying out the details meticulously to the pleasure, all to the pleasure of our power, the Most High, which you people ignorantly call God. So Joshua had commanded the people, saying, Ye shall not shout, nor make any noise. Right, and there's another one that must have shook them, because at one point they was making a whole heap of noise, blowing the trumpets outside the walls of Jericho, and then that came tumbling down. And you know, that was an act of war. And they must have been wondering, all the people around on the other side must have been wondering what they're going to do next. And the armed men went before the priests that blew with the trumpets, and the reward came after the ark, the priests going on and blowing with the trumpets. Right. So there's a little bit of a change of plan here. And Joshua had commanded the people, saying, Ye shall not shout, nor make any noise with your voice, neither shall any word proceed out of your mouth until the day I bid you. Shout, then ye shall shout. So now it's about being quiet, just for a moment. And that would have the enemy wondering what's going on, having them shook, because the Most High is unpredictable. So all they had to do was be quiet, stay silent, like a standoff, and the enemy would have been shook, wondering what they're going to do next. In 11 says, So the ark of the Lord compassed the city, going round about it once, and they came unto the camp and lodged in the camp. Right. So they walked about with the ark of the covenant, and then they came into the camp and lodged in the camp. 12, And Joshua rose early in the morning, and the priests took up the ark of the Lord, and the 7 priests bearing 7 trumpets of ram's horns before the Lord. The ark of the Lord went on continually and blew with the trumpets, and the armed men went before them. But the reward came after the ark of the Lord, and the priests going on and blowing with the trumpets. And the second day that they compassed the city once. Right, the second day they compassed the city once, and returned unto the camp. So they did 6 days. All this time the enemies are inside, wondering what's happening. It's a standoff. They don't know what's happening. They don't know what's going to happen next. They see their wall, their great wall fall down by means of the Most High Spirit. That happened because of what Joshua did, blowing the trumpet. The wall came tumbling down. So what is next? In 15 it says, And it came to pass on the 7th day that they rose early about the drawing of the day, and compassed the city after the same manner 7 times. Only on that day they compassed the city 7 times. Right. And it came to pass on the 7th time, when the priests blew with the trumpets, and Joshua said unto the people, Shout. Right. After that quiet, temporary quietness, now they got the order to shout, before the Lord hath given you the city. So they shouted. And they shouted. And what happened next in 17? To end it off, And the city shall be accursed. So the city came under a curse, even it and all that were therein. Right. All that were in the city, and the city became accursed. To the Lord, only Rahab, that's the as it goes on to say, only Rahab the harlot shall live. That's the one who protected the messengers. Shall live, she and all that were with her in the house, because she hid the messengers that we sent. So because the act of faith that Rahab did by hiding out the messengers that spied out the land, her and her household were preserved through the power and spirit of Yahweh Shem Yoshua. So, when you just take your time and savor and meditate on how Yahweh power does his thing, it's never the same. He changes it up, and he can change it up at the drop of a hat. He can change it up. In this case, it was blowing the trumpet outside the walls of Jericho, and the walls of Jericho came tumbling down, man. And that's a well-known history that is known throughout history. But when you know that you are a child of Yahshua Allah, a child of God, then the story becomes even more powerful, becomes even more real. Because Joshua was our ancestor, our forefather, closely related to us. A man of valor, and he was always victorious, because he was faithful, and he waited, and he carried out the instructions in a meticulous way. The instructions from from on high. So that is why these people today, all our enemies, the Goyim, the E's, you know, all the wicked people in this kingdom that love to point their finger and love to hate us, that's why they're worried and they're shook, because we're coming back to our power, something that they always feared. So like I say, that was a good example, one of my favorite examples, and there's many examples throughout the Bible of our prophets being victorious against our enemies. There's occasions where they were thrown into blindness, yeah, the Assyrians, and many other occasions where they were thrown into confusion. They started to fight one another, thrown into blindness, and about 185,000 of the Assyrians were dead when Hezekiah woke up. You know, all he had to do, he prayed to the Most High. He didn't have a chance in hell on a carnal level. From a carnal perspective, he wouldn't have had a chance, but from a spiritual perspective, 185,000 angels were put to death by one angel. So that just makes you, when you think and you savor those precepts, meditate on all those wonderful things that we had and have, when we look up and we see the chariots above our houses, above our heads, when we're at camp or wherever we may be, we see the chariots. And as Elijah said to Elisha, there are more that are with us than are with them. So we have a mighty power, an invincible power, to say the least. And the prophets were always victorious when they waited on our power. So until the next one, Akim, I want to say Tawada to Yahweh Shem El Shai for giving me the spirit to do this video. The house of David is rising, Kwame Al-Shu'ala, and everything the wicked have done to us is now falling upon their own heads.